I am Jess. I am an addict. I just want to say that I am truly grateful for being able to be here today because I think this is such an important topic, and I'm truly honored to have spoke to some of these women. Their stories have really touched my heart. I think this is an amazing thing that we've been able to pull together here. Pooja is actually one of the women that I spoke with, and we had a very deep, detailed conversation about some of the struggles in India. And I really respect what she's doing, and I think her story is super important. I also have a slideshow. So once she starts talking about that, I will pull it up for you guys. But thank you everyone for being here. And Pooja, thank you so much for coming and like sharing what you guys are going through over there, because I think it's a beautiful thing that you have the courage to do this because it's super important. And it's all you.
Hi everyone, my name is Pooja. I'm an addict from India. Before I start, I just want to say that my story is not very different from the other women in India right now. Some of them are on this call. A lot of things that we've been able to do so far in the India region has been it's been an effort from many fronts. It's not just me, but it's a bunch of us, working really hard to serve, and we are trying to figure out a way which is beneficial to more women finding recovery the NA way. So we've, I'm a little nervous, so I'm sorry if I'm stammering a bit. I'm just going to start a little bit with sharing my story and where I come from and why women's FD is really important to me. I came to NA at 19 years old. I started using when I was 14. In 5 years, I was completely hopeless, suicidal. And when I found NA, it was really important to me because for the first time in my life, I found a place that I felt I could belong. And that's not an unusual story. I've heard the same thing with so many people out there share the same thing. I didn't get clean right away. It took me a couple of attempts to find my feet. And when I was the only woman in my fellowship, which is Pune. We are about 4 hours away from Bombay. Uh, and I was the only woman. I think I was 2 years clean when I first met another woman in recovery at a convention. And it was just so overwhelming because I hugged her and I just started crying, and I said that, I really thought I'm the only person, only woman doing drugs and the only woman in NA. And for a long time, as I made more conventions in different parts of India, I started seeing and noticing that, there were more women, and there were quite a few women who were in my age group, which was basically below 30. And we started connecting, we started speaking on the phone, we started, just becoming friends, and we started sharing rooms at conventions. And, slowly with time, all of us, and that was the thing, that we were all in these different pockets of India. India is a huge country. We'd probably meet once in 2 or 3 years, meet at a convention, just have, spend time talking to one another, talking about our struggles as women. And I realized that the one thing in common for all of us was that we were desperate for other women in recovery, just the companionship of other women in recovery. And I've been in NA for 16 years now, and thank you. It's been, uh, it was really difficult. Initial years of recovery because I was young, I was really stupid. I didn't want a woman sponsor. I had male sponsors. I'm sorry for my language, but having a male sponsor really fucked me up. Uh, and I was just so lucky because when I was about 5 years clean, there was an American woman who moved to my, she basically moved base and she moved to my hometown and she became my sponsor. She was my sponsor for 10 years. And she really helped me work my steps. And for the first time again, I experienced working the steps the anyway. Uh, and yeah, so that's a little bit about me. My struggle has been a bit beyond not just finding women in recovery, but also, my struggle has been uh, dealing with a lot of sexual advances from men, which it's so uncalled for, and in any culture, I think that's not okay. Uh, uh, Unfortunately, and I've seen this, and this is my experience. I could be completely wrong, but many men, not all men, and this is not a male bashing session. It's just about kind of talking about the culture that countries like India have. Uh, a lot of men in our rooms have very low awareness about women as addicts, this disease affecting women as it does men. And, you know, as a result, we are a very, very male dominated uh, fellowship. We probably, I don't know, Amitabh can maybe help me here, but we probably have 3,000 members in India, but our women numbers are, I'm approximating between 60 to 100 women who are in recovery right now. It's a mixture of everything, cultural, uh, perception, it's a mix of a lot of things. Over the last, so about 2 years ago, two of my friends who are on this call right now, Divya and Rumki, both of them jammed up and they started an all India women's Skype meeting. We are still running that meeting. It's been more than 2 years. It's gone from one meeting to now 2 meetings a week. Des will share the details of that meeting here soon. Uh, we'd love to, have more women on that meeting. A lot has changed because, suddenly week on week, a bunch of us were making the meeting. We were talking to each other, we were discussing things going on in our local areas. We were talking about, how we can get the message out to more women. So we also started a WhatsApp group, just a forum where women in India can kind of get together and find each other in case they needed support. And there have been a couple of observations that us as a group have made. One is that we find the women, well, they are okay to be on the WhatsApp group, but there'll be very little contribution on the group. There'll be even more reluctance to come to the meeting. So unfortunately, in the last 2.5 years, I'd say we've got like a fixed number of women who turn up for our meetings. That's a real struggle. We are trying to find different ways of reaching out to newcomer women. I also want to add here, and this is just me saying that I think India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, we are, as a part of the Indian subcontinent, we are culturally very, very similar. So I'm expecting that, women from all of these countries kind of face very similar things that women in India do. And I just want to let you know that this Skype meeting is also open for you guys. We'd love to have you there, hear your stories, and share our experience, strength, and hope. We've got not a lot of women, but we have a few women with great experience in service at the regional level, local level, and as well as really having served in meetings, their areas and the region. Last year in September, we and okay, I think I need I need to just give a small introduction. When the Skype meeting started and we started talking to one another and sharing on our meeting on a weekly basis, we wanted to have our first nationwide women's convention. So we worked for 1 year to put the convention together. None of us met face to face through the duration of that 1 year. Everything, all our service was conducted on Skype. We had a lot of women nominating for different service positions. We were in a very fragile place, so we kind of decided to give everyone a chance, but that didn't really work out in our favor. We had women drop off, not show up for service. There was no commitment, but in the end we were I think five or six of us that were committed, and we made this convention happen. We had 50 plus women at our convention, out of which 40 women were from India. We had, I think, 10 or 11 women from abroad, from Australia, England, the Netherlands, maybe, I don't remember if there was someone from the US. But it was really a proud moment for us because we had, it was truly an Indian women's convention with 40 women from our country. We also had absolutely no funds when we started this convention. And I really want to thank everybody on the committee. We pulled our weight. We did some amazing fundraising for this convention. We were able to bring 14 newcomer women to the convention with all their travel as well as registration expenses were paid by the committee through the fundraising activities. And for me, that was really, that was very, very heartwarming. Yeah, you guys just saw a few photos from there. For us, this women's convention was a very, very big deal. As you can imagine, or maybe you can't, but we've had to really fight a lot of uphill battles to make that convention happen. We've decided we are going to have one every 2 years. So let's see how the next one comes along. But also in terms of just it being an experience to be in service for a women's convention was absolutely amazing. And I think right now we are at a stage where we are looking at the next step. And for us, the next step really is, it connects back to our primary purpose. We want to reach out to women addicts who are still suffering. We want women to know that they have a safe space where they can come and talk to other women in recovery about stuff they are going through. And, hopefully, again, our region is extremely male dominated. We are hoping that through our efforts, we are able to encourage women to take up service positions in their local areas, find sponsors, sponsor women, work the steps, and, really enjoy the freedom the NA way of life offers. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.